Michael Pinter, I help you start flipping houses, or if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. So we're talking about the most important house, which is the kitchen. And we dealt with there are four components of the kitchen. There is the floors and the walls and the backsplash. That's one. Talked about that before. There is appliances. Talked about it yesterday. Today we're talking about countertops. Tomorrow we're talking about the actual cabinetry. Countertops are the second most important part of it. And the reason why they're so important is because a lot of people look at countertops as something that is extremely expensive. Well, I'm here to tell you it is not that expensive. And I'm also here to tell you that no matter what you do, if you're redoing a kitchen, you should always put in a pretty good countertop. Don't cheap out on Formica. You should put in granite or quartz. Those are the better stone countertops. And I'm talking about even on rentals. I did a 7-unit rental and I put in granite countertops. And I can tell you that it has a few effects on people. Number one, there are people who think they will never have granite countertops. And when you have them, they get excited. That's number one. Number two is it's a very, very hard surface. Never use marble. Marble is very porous surface. You don't want to use marble, but you want to use granite or quartz. Those are very hard surfaces and they last longer. So if you have a rental property, for example, and you put in crappy Formica, it gets water on it, it gets soggy, it starts falling apart. The difference in price is minimal in a lot of places. So I don't know everywhere in the country. I can tell you in my area, the difference between putting in a Formica countertop and a granite countertop is going to be somewhere between, depending on the size, obviously, between $500 and $1,000. It's an absolute no-brainer to invest that kind of money into the kitchen. Remember, this is the most important room in the house, and this is the second most important thing in there. Never cheap out on countertops. Now, if you are somewhere where there's no way to get it, or it's going to be so cost prohibitive, it's going to be $8,000, then obviously that's something you need to think about. But in most cases, you're talking about saving pennies, hundreds of dollars on the most important room in the house, on the second most important component of it. Always spend the extra money for granite or quartz, which are the same kind of things. And you can get them at Home Depot even. Home Depot isn't so cheap, but it's still going to be $600, $700. The difference is minimal, and it's something that it's worth 20 times what you spend on it. Right, the value to a potential tenant and certainly to a potential buyer. So never ever cheap out on countertops ever. And I guess there's a few other things you could use, like tiles or something. I've seen people put tile on there with grout on it. Terrible idea. That grout is always going to keep stains and look disgusting within a month. Also, if you do put marble on there, it's going to look terrible. You spill tomato sauce on marble, it's never coming out. You're going to have a red tint in there forever. So, I mean, I had a student recently bought a rental, and he was asking me about that, and he thought for sure he was going to put in Formica, which is crap. And I told him not to. And he told me that the first 5 people who came into the property to see it said they wanted it. And one of the main reasons was the countertops. Don't ever cheap out on countertops. Ever. So I hope this was helpful. I can't be any clearer. I feel very strongly about it. And I've had arguments with people about it because people said to me, you're crazy. If it's a rental, you shouldn't spend the money. It's hundreds of dollars. You're going to get that money back by the speed at which you're going to rent it, or the speed at which you're going to sell it for, or the price you're going to sell it for. So always spend a little extra for really, really good countertops. Again, you can go to Home Depot. There are service. I mean, in New York, I'm spoiled because there's a million people who provide this stuff. Any kitchen place can do it. They come and they measure. It's per square foot. It's not a lot of square footage. That's just the truth. Even a big kitchen, it's not as much as you think. So always spend the extra money. Don't worry about thickness. Most people won't know. Obviously, if someone said, hey, I can give you a 2-inch thick countertop for the price of 1-inch, take it. Thicker is better, but if you're getting 1-inch countertops, it's fine. It's not a problem. Make sure they install them. Don't install them yourself. It has to be professionally installed. But never, ever use Formica or some crappy countertops, ever. And I've gone into many kitchens where I've only changed the countertops. That's it. I just did that in a house recently. I made over 6 figures on it. Countertops made a big difference. It was crappy countertops. I ripped them off. Now, there is one risk. Sometimes you rip off the countertops and the cabinetry falls apart. So anytime I'm changing a countertop, I know there's a chance that I may have to replace the cabinetry, but it's very rare. Usually, if you have a house where everything is good except the countertops are crappy Formica or falling apart, take them off. Have somebody put new countertops for $1,500. you're going to have a kitchen that looks much better. So always look for good countertops. I can't tell you how many kitchens I go into and immediately I say, I'm going to change it. The only thing I'm doing here is changing the countertops. I hope this was helpful. If you're interested in all the ways I can help you, go to biggerflips.com. Please keep the comments coming. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching any media channel, please click the thumbs up. The likes really help the algorithm. And please keep the comments coming with your questions. Any question, it does not have to have anything to do with the video you're watching is fine. If it's something simple, I'll just reply with an answer. If it's something I've covered recently, I'll send you a link to a video. And if it's something I haven't covered before, I'll do a brand new video on it for you. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I do have 1 or 2 spots open. If you're interested in coaching, hit me up in the comments too. Thank you very much.